Okay, so we're back on this topic after a hiatus from the topic, and we did this halacha, and then we were up to this halacha in Gimel 2, I think, and that's actually in this week's parsha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu karov l'shava'as Aniyim. God is close to the outcry of the Aniyim. Shnamar, it says of Shavas Aniyim ata tishma. The outcry of the Aniyim you hear. Lefikach, and we said that that's not in a pasuk, that's in the Nishmas of Sfardim. Lefikach tzarich lehizar mitza'akasam. Therefore, you need to be careful. I think mitza'akasam. I don't know if that means be careful not to cause them to call out to Hashem, or be careful when they call out. No, it must be careful not to cause them to call out to Hashem. Yeah. Yeah, right. Shari Bris Crusalem, because there's a covenant sealed with him. And I think we looked up Bris Crusalem. We only found that one other case. That was the last question we came to. Yeah. It will be when they call out to me, I will listen because I am Chanun. I'm in a little bit of a conflict because I actually want to talk about this pasuk in my my Tefilah shir on Wednesday night. So I don't want to tip my hand yet. So I'm kind of, given that combined with the fact that it's a new week, or two, it's been 2 weeks. Let's go on to the next halacha. Okay, I'll glean it, or I'll address it in my Tefilah shir. Okay, new halacha. Kol anosin tzedakah la'ani b'sefer panim ra'os upanav kavushos bakarka. Anyone who gives tzedakah to a poor person with a angry face, lo b'panim ni'imo, it's not with a pleasant face. It doesn't mean angry, like I think it means like a, some negative face. Yeah, begrudging is a good word. Yeah. Afilu nasan lo elef zehuvim, even if you give him $1,000, or how many zehuvim, ibid zechuso ihipsida. That's a weird phrase. He loses his zechus, or hifsida, or causes it to be lost. I don't know the difference between ibid. That's what I don't know, and I don't know why he has to say it. See, ibid as a zechus mitzvah, or gora me'erka. Oh, hifsida, or diminishes it. That would be okay. That's a better way to say it. Yeah, diminishes, right? Sorry, and I skipped the phrase upanav kavushos pakarka, his face hidden, not in the ground. The footnote qualifies mufnos klape karka. So you give it to him like looking down, like the way little kids, who are forced to give tzedakah give it, So you lose your zechus or you diminish it. Ella, rather, no saying lo b'sefer panim yafos uvesimcha, and rather you should give it to him with a cheerful face and with joy. Umis onin imo al tsaraso, and he should bemoan his tzara along with the poor person, like empathize with him. Makbili says mis onin imo mishtatef imo b'tzaro kishu misane es tsarosav. He should join in with his suffering. Kishu misane es tsarosav. I don't know what misane means here. I don't know if it means like when he's like listing. I don't know his tsaros. Okay, and then it quotes a pasuk, Shnemar, im lo vachi, this is Eov talking about how righteous he is. I think, im lo vachisi l'ksheyom, agma nafshi la'evyon, if I did not cry for the person who has a harsh day, and if my soul did not feel anguish for the poor person. So that's him saying, I did feel anguish for the poor person, and I did empathize with him. Umadaber lo divrei tachanunim v'nechamos. And you should speak to him with supplications and consolations. Shnemar, as it says, believe almana arnin. That's a weird word. The heart of the poor arnin. I don't know what that is. Does he say? No. Arnin. Put away the thing. Yeah. Okay. So I guess the question is, let's just talk this out in terms of how do you diminish your zechus? Like, first of all, I think the harder one is how do you lose your zechus, right? Like if you gave the guy $1,000, don't tell me that that's not, like, fine, you didn't do it in the best way. I understand, like, it's not the best act of tzedakah. The next halacha? Or the last halacha?
It sounds like
right. So right. So okay. So I see. That's another thing. Also, is it's definitely related to the last halacha. But I would say, afflicting the ani to the point where like you're oppressing him, and he cries out. To me, that's different than just like giving tzedakah and like not looking happy, you know. Okay, 29:13 in Eov. 29:13 is the blessings of the forlorn would be upon me, and I would bring joyous song to a widow's heart. Oh, Arnin. I mean, I know Rina and Ranana is song, but Arnin is, I have no idea what conjugation that is, whatever. Yeah. Right. So what do we get from this? Yeah, what about that?
Maybe like kind of missing philosophical ideas behind others, and like ultimately, like God giving you like a talent now, and you don't have to
Right.
You know, and like you make it logically, or like you think really about money, and
okay, so that's a good approach. So one
missing the philosophical aspect of
okay, right. So let me just restate that. So Chaim's saying that on a philosophical level, you're missing the point of tzedakah, which is that this money is not yours. God gave it to you, and part of him giving it to you is to do tzedakah with it. So if you have any begrudging attitude whatsoever, you're kind of missing out on that entire fundamental idea of tzedakah. Okay, that's a good approach. I was thinking that when we did the Mor Nevuchim, the Rambam the Mor Nevuchim with tzedakah, he mentioned that the essence of tzedakah, even when you help another person, is you doing tzedakah to your rational soul by giving it what it's due. And there's also the halachos b'drachav aspect of tzedakah, which is emulating God. And it sounds like if you are doing this in an angry way or begrudging way, you're also really not developing the midos that you should be developing. And you would think, for a normal mitzvah, the midos are like more of the tam mitzvah. Here we've seen that embedded in the core of the mitzvah itself, like especially the losase of hiding your eyes from the poor, there's like uprooting stinginess is part of the actual substance of the mitzvah itself. Like this is not just a wealth redistribution system like a la like Soviet Union or whatever, like this is yes, it's true, it's there to redistribute wealth, but it's designed to make people into Rahmanim and people who are halachos b'drachav in terms of tzedakah and chesed. So like if you're blocking that, you're like blocking a big part of the mitzvah. What? Yeah, I think both of these make sense. Okay, good, let's go. Yeah.
I was thinking sort of like I thought I guess you're still doing the action.
Yes, that's the hard part about eBay, about losing your zechus,
Making it less, definitely.
Yeah. So how about this? You're definitely doing the mitzvah, but you're losing the perfection of the mitzvah in the sense.
So
yeah.
Like building the mitzvah, doing the action is like a step towards.
So that's the thing. That's what I think. I think that there's a difference between, we do say mitok shelo lishma ba'al lishma. I feel like we had this discussion about some other topic earlier this year, right? There's a difference between doing an action. Oh no, I had it in my Friday Q&A with the women, that there's a difference between so when you do a mitzvah for the not the best motive, then that's a step in the right direction. But if you do the mitzvah in a way that undermines the development, then that's different. The example I gave is like the Chazal say like lomed lakanter. Like ordinarily we say when you learn, then you should learn even shelo lishma, shemitok shelo lishma ba'al lishma. But then there's all these other statements that say anyone who learns shelo lishma, it's better if you were never born, or if you learn lo lishma, it's better if they took the afterbirth and smothered you with it. So the question is like, how do you reconcile those two? So Balei Tosfos say that those second statements are if you learn lakanter, which means you're learning just in order to like disprove people or without any regard for the truth. So that would actually block your ability to advance to lishma, according to one opinion. All right, I'm happy with this. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, shal ha'ani mimachav ein biadcha klum litin lo paisehu b'dvarim. If you ask an ani ani asks you don't have anything to give to him, you should appease him with words. I told this story at the lifters that the woman and the guy who come around on Fridays. So I was here on Friday and I hadn't been here for so long on Friday. Usually I bring my wallet only to give to them because I don't drive on Fridays to here, so I just totally forgot to bring money. So like I knew this halakha and I went up to her and I was like trying to be Mephaisa of the door. And I said, I'm really sorry. Like, I didn't remember to bring money this time. Like, I'll bring next time. And she said, you want me to give it to you? And then she like laughed, and I thought that was a really funny interaction, But that's a funny thing also. I mean, I didn't intend to prompt a joke in her, but that would be an example also of like relating to the ani as a human being. That's going to be the thing that actually brings them comfort, So like having a normal, like if you think about it, these people can't have normal human interactions with non-Aniyim, and even with other Aniyim, it's going to be compromised. So anything that like treats them with their humanity, which is I think why the facial expression is such a big component, that when you either look angry at them like they're a burden on society, or you don't look at them at all, like you just like ignore their humanity, that's like the most demoralizing thing, and so like I think that's the mefaiso b'dvarim. I think is, in other words, it's not like I can't give you money, so like I'll give you words like in substitute. It's not a substitute for money. It's like trying to touch their humanity, like, and treat them as a person to make them feel, real. Yeah. It's usher to shout at an ani. I think ligor is to shout at. He says linzov, to spurn, I think, and or to raise your voice at him in yelling, because his heart is broken and crushed. And it says, a heart that is broken and crushed, God will not do not despise. See, so that's interesting here. Also, he's trying to tie it into Midas HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'omer lahachios ruch shvalim lahachios lev nitkaim. There's a Hilchos Purim reference. Rambam quotes that at the end of Hilchos Purim. That to enliven the spirits of the lowly and to give life to the hearts of the crushed. Woe unto the one who shames an ani, embarrasses him. Woe unto him. Ella yihi lo ka'ev, o ka'av. Rather, you should be for him like a father. Bein barachim, bein b'dvarim, whether in mercy or in words. Shnemar, or both in mercy and in words. Shnemar says, Av anochi la'evyonim. I am a father to the poor. Yeah, so a lot of ideas here. So the first part seems to be in line with what we've read so far, is you can't make them feel bad, right? But then, so why does he have to invoke Lev nishbar v'nidke elokim lo sivzeh, that God does not despise a broken heart? Well, that's a weird pasuk to quote to support this thing. I understand don't make them feel bad, but saying God doesn't despise a broken heart. Like, is that like what I'm tempted to say, and this might just be totally me projecting here, but there is a part of us that despises downtrodden people, because we don't want to see ourselves, we don't want to conceive of the fact that this could be me, and so you break identification with them, or you view it, you frame it in a more utilitarian way, like these people are like mooching off of society, or you make judgments on them, like, oh, they're why don't they just get a job, So there's a despising of them, and so he's quoting this pasuk and saying it is not in line with Midas HaKadosh Baruch Hu to despise the Aniyim. We have to figure out what that idea is. But in other words, I think it's speaking to that feeling that like we do tend to look down on them, or even like judging yourself as superior. Like look at me, like I'm able to make a living, and so why can't I'm better than this guy? So I think that's something that we have to think about here. And then we have to figure out what this idea is of being an av to the ani, whether in mercies or in words. I feel like that's just one of those like artificial categories, like I understand, let's say like I understand a rav to a talmid has like a father type, role, but to a poor person, father doesn't quite like click in, Yeah.
And also, I guess I just know if it sounds patronizing and insulting.
Yeah, right.
Like,
there you go, boy. You shouldn't be yeah. All right, so let's think about those for tomorrow. Yeah, it's also weird, right? Yeah, it's very strange, especially given the fact that he's been talking about Devarim the whole time.
Right.
Yeah. And I also have to look at Eov and see if this is Eov talking or God talking. Probably Eov, but we'll see. Okay, this continues tomorrow. Lean editor.
what's the status of the pool?